Now that we've actually had about a week or so of NFL free agency, it's a perfect time to come and give you an updated 2021 mock draft and see how things have changed, see how things have shaken up a little bit due to some of the offseason moves by these different teams, how some things have not changed, or even with moves, they still may be the same. And let's talk about some of them, shall we? So yeah, you can peep all 32 picks from my one-round mock in the description box below. And make sure you let me know what you think about my mock draft in the comments. If it's your first time ever checking me out, make sure you smash that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter. For those of you that watch me that don't follow me on Twitter, but you have Twitter accounts, I don't know why. Because even if you say you don't like me, well, you watch me. If you say you don't really like me, well, you know, then that could be therapeutic for you. Like, I can take the heat from you disagreeing with me. It's actually more fun that way. I'm just saying. So anyways, let's talk about this mock draft. Now, I'll say this to start. Jacksonville, doesn't seem like anything's changed. Certainly seems like they're pretty locked in with a month to go on Trevor Lawrence being their number one overall pick. I'll say this. I don't think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I don't even know that he's the second best quarterback in this draft. I know he's probably going to go number one because he's had 3 years of media hype behind him. I think he could be a decent fit for Urban Meyer. What I would imagine and project Urban Meyer will want to do offensively in Jacksonville, bringing his system there. And I could see Trevor Lawrence being a fit. But, like, what's the special trait with Trevor Lawrence? People are going to tell me it's arm strength. It's not. They're going to tell me it's accuracy, which to me I would say, did you actually see his ball placement this year in particular? Did you actually watch mobility? Like, he's got good athleticism, good mobility. I wouldn't certainly call it a special trait. Like, he's a survive and advance type of runner versus a game-breaking difference maker type of runner. It's a good trait for him to have, and it's yet another arrow in the quiver that should help him be successful in the NFL. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. I'm not saying he's a bad prospect. I think when people are talking about him being this generational type of prospect, they're blowing smoke up your ass. It's just the way I see it right now. Because I'm sorry. Going back and watching, I just don't see it. But I'm assuming at this point he's going to be number one. It gets more interesting with number two in the Jets. And again, I got to come down to this. General manager, Joe Douglas. Head coach, Robert Saleh. Like, why would you tie yourself to Sam Darnold? I don't get it. Now, that doesn't mean you even trade him right now. You might not. You may keep him in the fold. You may pick up his fifth-year option. Who knows? You may say, we're not going to pick up the fifth-year option, but we're going to let him play out the string. Now, to me, that seems kind of foolish. And maybe you would orchestrate some type of draft day trade, especially if there's a team that ends up not being able to get one of these top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. Maybe somebody will get desperate enough, give you a day 2 pick to get Darnold. You know, but I'm sorry, they got to go with Zach Wilson here. Or if they like Justin Fields better, or Trey Lance better, whatever the case might be. Like, they got to go quarterback here. And you're going to say, well, no, you just build around Darnold. No, you've had 3 years. Like, he's got the Adam Gase stink on him. Let him go somewhere else and have a chance. Again, I want you to be realistic here. If you are in this situation that a Douglas and a Saleh were, why would you tie yourself to a previously failed regime's young quarterback? Why would you do that? That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It doesn't. Which is why I still think the Jets are going to take a quarterback at 2, unless they get some trade down they really, really like, or unless they got another big trade in mind for a big-name quarterback. Where it gets interesting to me is 3 with the Miami Dolphins, especially if they're not going to be taking a quarterback. Then they really need to strongly find somebody that they can trade down with. Now, how far they want to trade down from 3 might depend on who they really have their sights set on. Like for them, I've got them trading down from 3 to 8 and still ending up with Jaylen Waddle, the wide receiver from Alabama, which I think if you're a Dolphins fan, you'd be pretty pleased with, be able to get some more draft pick currency. In this case, you'd get a second rounder this year and a second rounder next year for Carolina to move up from 8 to 3. Like if I'm looking at it from Carolina's standpoint, you have to get a quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater is just that, bridge guy, not long-term answer. You've got a head coach in Matt Rule who is there for another, 6 years? So you've got time. You need to do this right. And if you're going to not be able to get a Deshaun Watson, you're not going to be able to pull a trigger for another really big-name quarterback, then you have to go get the big-name quarterback here in the draft. And you potentially need to jump Atlanta at 4 to do so, which Falcons fans and other people might say, well, they just restructured Matt Ryan's contract and, they pushed a bunch of money towards the cap in 2022. Yeah, they did. There's also no guarantee that they can't redo it again next year. There's also no reason that should prevent them, because of a salary cap spot for the next 1 to 2 years, from finding a guy that could be the dude after Matt Ryan's gone for the next 10, 12, 15 years. Again, with a new general manager and a new head coach. Matt Ryan certainly is not the failed quarterback of a previous regime by any stretch of the imagination, but he is a quarterback from a previous regime that has played in the league now for 13 years. You are much, much closer to the tail end of Matt Ryan's career than you are at the beginning of it. So I say that for the Carolina Panthers standpoint. Like, realistically, unless major things change in the next month or so, like, they've got to be thinking about getting in that top 3 if they want to get one of these quarterbacks. They can't take any chances. They can't risk anything, especially if they target somebody and they think he's their dude. And in this case, I'm giving them Justin Fields. I could just as easily go Trey Lance. I just mixed it up a little bit this time. But that's the spot. And for Miami at 3, if you could trade back 5 spots and get a second rounder this year and a second rounder next year, which is about close to equivalent trade value, like maybe if you get them desperate enough, you can get a first-round pick in 2022, and that might be what you really want to choose if you were going to do so. I might even forego, if I was the Dolphins, in order to get that first-rounder next year to improve your draft position for another draft. I might say, shit, I don't even want the second-rounder this year. Just give me the first-rounder next year, and we're good. And if I was Carolina, I might be desperate enough to do that because they got to find a dude. And this is the perfect time to do it because you got Matt Rule there for a long time. Makes no damn sense whatsoever to go another year without some young quarterback that you're developing. It's just reckless for them to do it if they don't. And then I've got the 49ers trading up from 12 to 6 to take Trey Lance. Looking at it from Philadelphia's standpoint, are they really bought and sold on Jalen Hurts? It seems mostly like they are, although I'm not 100% sold, but I'm not 100% not sold on that either. For a team like Philly, they need picks because they need young talent because of where they are up against in terms of the salary cap. So to me, it makes sense for them to peel back from 6 to 12. For the 49ers, like the fact they're even bringing back Jimmy G this year to me seems kind of foolish. It absolutely does. Why? But that said, you got Jimmy G's got very little dead cap money left on his deal. So if you are able to get up and get a quarterback that Shanahan wants to work with, a Shanahan think has tremendous upside, and a guy like Trey Lance certainly might fit that bill, then you sit there and maybe you have Jimmy G play out the string in 2021, and then you release his ass. You find somebody you could potentially trade him to. Either way, the 49ers cannot be that clinically insane to think that Jimmy G is going to be their long-term guy. They have to move on, and they have to do so. And for those of you that are going to ask, well, you got Mac Jones going 15 to New England, so what about Chicago? It remains to be seen. But there's a part of me that wants no part of this general manager and this front office in Chicago making the next big quarterback decision. Why would you want that? They're now paying Andy Dalton 4+ times what Mitchell Trubisky is getting from the Buffalo Bills. Like, this is the brain matter that we're dealing with at Hallis Hall. For Andy Dalton. Is Andy Dalton 4 times the quarterback that Mitchell Trubisky is? No. That's stupid. And why did the Bears do it? Because they are also stupid. As a result, when you look at it, why in the fuck would you want the same guy who made the Mitchell Trubisky mistake to make potentially another big mistake? And on top of that, not just take a quarterback that you're stuck with for the next few years, but potentially mortgage this draft and the next one, at least for the premium picks wise, in order to go up and get one. Like, why in the fuck would you want to do that? I know I sure as hell have absolutely zero interest in that. Absolutely none whatsoever. That is what it is. And I think if you're saying, well, why would San Francisco trade up there? Why would they feel the need to go to 6? Maybe they're a little concerned about Detroit. Like, even with the trade for Jared Goff, I would say for Detroit, like, if one of those top 4 quarterbacks is there, you got to consider taking him. You got to. Because you can't realistically feel at this moment confident enough, even if your GM did come from the Rams and he was a big champion and proponent for Jared Goff in 2016. You cannot run the risk of tying yourself long-term to Jared Goff. Now, if it works out that way, that you're rolling with them the next year or two, so be it. You've got additional draft pick capital the next couple of drafts because the Rams gave you a couple first-round picks in the Matthew Stafford deal. But, to me, the Lions should be putting out all types of vibes that they're in on quarterback. Because either A, that means that somebody's going to jump up ahead of them, which will drop somebody down like a Jamar Chase or a Jaylen Waddle, somebody that they'll really want. Or B, they'll get somebody to trade up with them so they can acquire even more draft pick capital. That's the way they should be playing this draft game. But anyways, this is my mock. You can read, like I said, all 32 picks. And you might be wondering to yourself, saying, wait a second, Jeff. I heard you saying a lot of specific things about Trevor Lawrence. What you got going on? I don't know. It's almost like I'm preparing scouting reports. Think about that.